Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be going through every single rod and reel that I own and why I own each and every one of them. I know a lot of times in the industry people think that you just need one or two rods and reels, but in my opinion you do need a lot of them if you like to bass fish, and I'm going to explain exactly why that is. Alright guys, so obviously what I have here is quite a bit, and I'm honestly missing a few. But I am going to go through everything and just kind of explain how each and every one of them is different and what kind of benefits having the different rod lengths and having the different, gear ratios and different lines on each setup. I'm going to explain exactly how important that is right now. All right, guys. So the first setup I'm going to show you guys is my big Swimbait setup. First things first is the rod. It's a 7/9 heavy action rod, and it throws baits 1 to 4 ounces. So this is my heaviest rod that I own, and if I were to do any, big flipping in Florida or anything like that, I could probably use this. But for around the area that I fish, these big swim baits are awesome to throw, and that's what I love this setup for. And the reel is something that's pretty unique to Bass Pro. It's a deep spooled Johnny Morris Signature Series reel. So it's it's good for throwing bigger baits. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for big bladed baits, but it's perfect for glides and like smaller paddle tails and things like that. And so far it's held up really, really well for me. All right guys, so this next setup is my jigging setup. It's a 7/3 medium heavy rod. It's perfect for what I like to do. And it's a high speed gear ratio reel, which is the most unique thing in my arsenal, I would say. Specifically for jigging, I like a high speed reel because it retrieves the line faster. And right now I'm throwing 20-pound fluoro on it. I would prefer probably 17 for my area at least. Everybody's different, but for me this is my jigging setup and I absolutely love it. All right guys, now this is one of my rod and reel setups that I would say is super versatile. And the reason why is because it's a 7/1 rod, so it's a really nice rod for throwing a spinnerbait, chatterbait, pretty much anything that's between a quarter ounce, like 3/8 of an ounce to about 3/4 of an ounce. It's a medium heavy rod, so you don't want to throw anything too light on it. But I would say it's perfect for throwing chatterbaits, spinnerbaits, anything along those lines. You can throw a jig on it, smaller swim baits, stuff like that. But yeah, this is one of my rods that I would say I could not live without for sure. All right, now this is another one of those rods that I could not really live without, especially being a kayak fisherman now, and that's a 6/9 medium heavy rod. This thing is awesome for just about everything. Chatterbaits, spinnerbaits. I've even got this lipless crank on it because I was able to load up my rod with it, well enough to make it work. And I really like this. I think I got 14-pound fluorocarbon. It's perfect for my spinnerbaits and chatterbaits. I really, really like that. And honestly, if I were to get a few more reels, I'd probably get like 6/8 to 1s or 7 gear ratio reels with 14 to 17-pound fluoro. Lately, I don't know why, but the past 2 seasons, I've been absolutely loving that 14-pound diameter. And it works well with a lot of baits. Like I've literally fished everything from a spinnerbait, chatterbait, lipless crank. I've even thrown a Vision 110 on this, and it works. I wouldn't say it's the best, but it works. So with that being said, I would say this is one of those rods and reels that I could not live without for sure. All right, so this is another one of those combos that I literally, all of these I can't live without. But this one is so amazing for crankbaits. I love it for crankbaits. Square bills, jerk baits, even lipless crankbaits are really, really nice on this rod. It's a 6/9. Actually a 6/8 medium action, so that's why I really think it's good for throwing like smaller cranks, and in general crankbaits are typically lighter, so I like a medium action rod for that reason. And lately I've been throwing some monofilament on it. I've got, I believe, 12-pound monofilament, and I've been liking the fact that it's floating in ponds and stuff like that. It really helps, I think. But I think I will be trying fluorocarbon next on this crankbait setup. And I'm really excited about that because I love this and I can't wait to see how it casts with fluoro. All right guys, so this is my first spinning setup in my arsenal, and I've got more than just the 2 that I've got here, but this is one that I definitely cannot live without. It's a 7-foot medium light / medium. I don't think it really necessarily says what it is, but typically by the rods that I've fished, I would say this is a medium light. And it throws pretty light stuff, so I really think it's perfect for the area that I'm in. You know, smallmouth fishing, largemouth bass fishing, Ned rigs, drop shotting. Literally, I can do it all with this. There are other rods that I would prefer for different situations and stuff like that. And right now I got braided line on this. Typically we'll do a fluorocarbon leader to it. But yeah, this is one of those setups that I would say you can't live without. 2500 reel size, which I think is perfect. It's really comfortable, light, all around really nice setup. I love this setup. All right guys, now this is my lightest setup that I own. And I do need to get a couple ultralight, or one ultralight rod in a spinning setup, but this is a 6.3 medium light, and it casts all of my lightest stuff. 10th ounce Ned rigs is what I mostly use it for. I'll even use like little MEP spinners on this, like pretty much anything that's I would consider finesse, I will throw on this. It's a really versatile setup. I really like the fact that it's 6'3", especially because I wade a lot of the rivers around here and even the creeks. It's just nice to not be worrying about the trees and stuff above you. But yeah, all around it's a really nice setup, but because I don't have my other spinning setups, I'm gonna just kind of briefly talk about them. I do have a 7-foot medium action spinning setup that I absolutely love. That's good for like using, you know, shaky heads, bigger finesse baits, bigger drop shots and deeper water kind of thing. All around stuff like that is just really nice. And then I've got a few salmon setups that are 8.6, one's a 8.6 medium light and then one's a 9.6 medium action, and that does everything that I need to do with 4,000 size spinning reels on those, and those are phenomenal. Basically perfect for what I do in the salmon season. And yeah, that basically covers everything besides my musky equipment. But yeah, I'll be making a future video about my updated arsenal. But yeah, as of right now in 2022, this is what I've got, and this is honestly, I couldn't be more thankful. I think the younger version of myself would be really proud. And if I could give you one tip, I would honestly say try not to spend a bunch of money on each reel and each rod. Try to diversify your arsenal. I know your parents are probably saying no, don't buy more than 1 or 2 rods. But show them this video and ask them, do they cook with one pot? Do they cook with one pan? No. You know, like, you have to use specific tools to be successful out in the, you know, out in any situation that you're in. And for fishing, I just think it's really necessary to have the tools that you need, and that's different rod lengths, different rod, you know, different reels, different lines on the reels. All of the qualities and the variables that you can use to your advantage, you should. And with that being said, I hope you guys are out there catching a bunch, and I'll see you guys soon.